The envelope sat between them on the mahogany desk. Claire's hands were shaking. His were perfectly still. "You took them to her," he said. His voice was calm, too calm. "You brought my children to the one person I forbade you to go near." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Behind him, through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Manhattan skyline glittered like a million broken promises. "Mr. Harrington, I can explain." "Can you?" He leaned forward. "Because the security footage doesn't lie, Claire, and neither do my children." She felt her world tilting. The twins, 4-year-old Mia and Noah, the two souls she'd poured her life into for 18 months, they were upstairs right now, probably wondering why she hadn't come to read them their bedtime story. "I trusted you," he whispered, and for the first time his voice cracked. "I trusted you with everything." The envelope slid toward her. Inside were photographs, timestamps, GPS coordinates, and a single question she couldn't answer without destroying him. 6 months earlier, Claire didn't know people like Jonathan Harrington existed outside of magazines. She was 26, working 3 part-time jobs in Brooklyn, drowning in student debt from a teaching degree she'd never gotten to use. Her dream of opening a childhood literacy center felt like something from another lifetime. Then the agency called. "We have a family," the director said. "High-profile twins, 4 years old. The pay is substantial." Substantial meant $120,000 a year, plus housing, plus benefits. It meant she could pay off her loans in 2 years. It meant her dream wasn't dead. "What's the catch?" she asked. The director paused. "The father is particular. The mother passed away 2 years ago. He's raising them alone. He needs someone stable, someone trustworthy, someone who won't leave." The Harrington penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of a building in Tribeca. When Claire arrived for the interview, a butler, an actual butler, escorted her to a living room bigger than her entire apartment. Everything was white marble and soft gray. Cold, beautiful, empty. Then she heard them. Laughter, small feet running. 2 children burst into the room, identical except for their eyes. Mia's were green like their father's. Noah's were brown, like someone they hadn't met yet. "Are you our new nanny?" Mia asked, studying Claire with unsettling intensity for a 4-year-old. "Maybe," Claire smiled, "if your dad likes me." "He won't," Noah said matter-of-factly. "He didn't like the last 7 nannies in 2 years." Jonathan Harrington entered then, tall, mid-30s, exhausted in a way that expensive suits couldn't hide. "You're early," he said, "not rude, just factual." "I'm punctual," Claire replied. Something shifted in his expression, almost a smile, almost. The interview was unlike anything Claire had experienced. He didn't ask about her resume. Instead, he watched how she interacted with Mia and Noah, how she listened when they talked about their day, how she didn't flinch when Noah deliberately spilled juice on her lap to test her. "They need consistency," Jonathan said quietly, after the twins had been taken to their playroom. "Not someone who will stay for 6 months and then leave because this life is too demanding." "I don't run from demanding," Claire said. "Everyone runs eventually." He wasn't being cruel, just honest. "Their mother died in a car accident when they were 2. They don't remember her. I'm barely holding it together. The nannies before you, they were qualified, experienced, but they couldn't handle the hours, the expectations, the loneliness of caring for children who have already been abandoned once." Claire's chest tightened. "Mr. Harrington, I lost my mother when I was 7. I know what it's like to feel like the world is unreliable. If you give me this position, I won't abandon them. That's a promise." He studied her for a long moment. "You start Monday." The first month was harder than Claire had imagined. The twins tested every boundary. Noah would hide her belongings. Mia would refuse to eat anything she prepared. They were brilliant, wounded and desperately trying to see if she'd leave like everyone else. But she stayed. She learned that Noah loved astronomy and Mia loved painting. She learned that they both had nightmares about car crashes. She learned to braid Mia's hair the way her mother used to. She learned that Noah needed exactly 3 bedtime stories, no more, no less, or he couldn't sleep. Slowly they softened. And so did Jonathan. He started coming home earlier, joining them for dinner, laughing at Noah's terrible knock-knock jokes, watching Mia's art presentations with genuine interest. "You're good for them," he said one evening, after the twins were asleep. "They're good for me too," Claire admitted. For the first time in her life, she felt like she belonged somewhere. Welcome to Nanny Grace Stories, where trust is tested, truth hides in shadows, and justice arrives when you least expect it. Here, we tell the untold stories of those who raise the children of the powerful, the nannies who see everything, sacrifice everything, and sometimes lose everything for truths no one wants to hear. If you've ever trusted the wrong person or doubted the right one, you know how fragile the truth can be. Stories like this remind us that betrayal isn't always what it seems, and sometimes the cost of silence is far greater than we realize. If these moments are stirring something in you, stay with us. There's more to uncover. Then 4 months in, everything shifted. Jonathan had a sister. Her name was Vanessa. She lived in Los Angeles, worked in fashion, and according to the twins, was fun but forgets our birthdays. Claire had never met her. Jonathan never spoke about her. But one Tuesday afternoon she called. Claire was in the park with Mia and Noah when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Is this Claire?" A woman's voice strained. "Yes. I'm Vanessa Harrington, Jonathan's sister. I need to talk to you about the twins." Claire's stomach dropped. "Is everything okay?" "No," Vanessa paused. "But I can't explain over the phone. Can you bring Mia and Noah to meet me, just once? There's something they need to know, something Jonathan won't tell them." "I can't do that without Mr. Harrington's permission." "He'll never give it." Her voice broke. "Please, Claire, I'm their aunt, I love them. But my brother has shut me out of their lives for 2 years and I don't even know why. I need to see them just once." Every instinct screamed warning. But something in her voice, desperation, grief, love, made Claire hesitate. "I'll think about it," she said. Claire didn't tell Jonathan about the call. She told herself it was because she didn't want to upset him. But truthfully, she was curious. What secret was so damaging that a man would cut his own sister out of his children's lives? 2 weeks later, Vanessa called again. "Please," she whispered. "I'm in New York for 3 days. I just want to see them, a park, 30 minutes. I'll never ask again." Claire should have said no. But she thought about her own mother, how she'd give anything for 1 more hour with her. And she thought about the twins, how they deserved to know their family. So she made the worst decision of her life. She said yes. The meeting happened on a Saturday. Jonathan was in London for business. The twins thought they were going to their favorite playground. Vanessa was waiting on a bench near the carousel, wearing sunglasses and a scarf despite the warm weather. When Mia and Noah saw her, they froze. "Aunt Nessa," Mia whispered. Vanessa's face crumpled. "Hi, sweetheart." She dropped to her knees, and the twins ran into her arms. Watching them, Claire felt a sick twist in her gut. This woman loved them. That much was undeniable. So why had Jonathan erased her from their lives? They spent 20 minutes at the park. Vanessa was gentle, kind. She asked about school, their favorite foods, their friends. She didn't badmouth Jonathan. She didn't ask them to keep secrets. She just loved them. "Thank you," she said to Claire as they prepared to leave. "You have no idea what this meant." "Why did he cut you off?" Claire asked quietly, while the twins played one last game on the swings. Vanessa's expression darkened. Because I told him the truth about how Isabel died, and he couldn't handle it. What truth? She shook her head. That's not my story to tell, but Claire, be careful. My brother isn't the man you think he is. Jonathan came home 3 days later. The twins ran to greet him, chattering about their week. Claire was in the kitchen preparing dinner when he appeared in the doorway. His face was stone. My office now. Her blood turned to ice. The envelope was already on his desk when she entered. Sit down, he said. She sat. He slid the envelope toward her. Open it. Inside were printed screenshots, security footage from the park, time-stamped, geotagged. Claire, Vanessa, the twins. I have cameras everywhere, Claire, tracking software on the car. I know exactly where you took my children last Saturday. She couldn't breathe. Mr. Harrington, I can explain. Explain what? His voice was quiet, lethal. That you took my children to see the one person I explicitly forbade, that you violated my trust, that you went behind my back after I gave you everything. She's their aunt. She's a liar. He slammed his hand on the desk. She's manipulative, dangerous, and the reason their mother is dead. The room spun. What? His voice shook as he spoke. Vanessa was driving the car the night Isabel died. She was drunk. She'd been drinking all night at some party, and Isabel called her for a ride home. Vanessa crashed into a tree going 70 miles an hour. Isabel died on impact. Vanessa walked away with a broken arm. Horror flooded through Claire. She lied to the police, said Isabel had been driving, used her connections to bury the truth, and when I found out, when I finally learned what she'd done, I cut her off completely. I told her if she ever came near my children again, I'd make sure everyone knew what she did. Tears blurred Claire's vision. I didn't know. You didn't ask. His eyes were cold. You made a decision about my children without knowing the full story. You chose her word over mine. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring back their mother. He stood. Pack your things, you're fired. I want you out by tonight. Panic seized her. Please, Mr. Harrington, the twins. We'll be fine. I'll find someone who actually respects my authority. They'll be devastated. They'll survive. His voice cracked. They survived losing their mother. They'll survive losing you. Claire felt like she was drowning. Please don't do this. Let me explain to them. Let me say goodbye. No, final, absolute. You'll leave while they're asleep. I'll tell them you had a family emergency. It's cleaner that way. Cleaner? Tears spilled down her cheeks. You're going to lie to them about why I left, after everything we've built. You built nothing. His voice was hollow. You were an employee, that's all. Claire packed her things in silence. Her hands shook as she folded clothes she'd worn while playing with the twins, books she'd read to them at bedtime, a drawing Mia had made her of their family. Jonathan stood in the doorway the entire time, making sure she didn't steal anything. When she finished, he handed her an envelope. Severance pay, 3 months, that's more than generous. She didn't take it. I don't want your money. Take it anyway. I won't have you running to the press saying I treated you unfairly. The accusation stung worse than anything else. I would never. Everyone has a price, Claire. I learned that the hard way. She left that night through the service entrance. No goodbye to Mia and Noah. No explanation. Just gone. Like all the nannies before her. 3 weeks later, Claire was working at a coffee shop in Brooklyn. Her dreams of paying off her loans, dead. Her dream literacy center, buried. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the twins' faces. Did they think she'd abandoned them? Did they cry? Did they understand? Then one morning, her phone rang. Unknown number. Claire, it's Vanessa. She almost hung up. Please don't, Vanessa said quickly. I know you lost your job. I know what Jonathan told you. But there's something you need to know. Something I should have told you that day in the park. I don't want to hear it. Jonathan lied to you. Claire froze. I wasn't driving the car, Vanessa said. Her voice was shaking. Isabel was. She'd been drinking. We'd had a fight about Jonathan, about how controlling he was, how he monitored her every move, how she felt trapped. She was upset. I tried to stop her from driving, but she wouldn't listen. She crashed. And when I woke up in the hospital, Jonathan was there. He told me that if I didn't take the blame, he'd make sure I never saw the twins again. He said I'd go to prison for letting her drive drunk, that I'd lose everything. Claire's heart hammered. Why would you agree to that? Because I was 23 and terrified. Because he had lawyers and power and I had nothing. Because I thought if I just did what he said, he'd eventually forgive me. Her voice broke. But he never did. He used my guilt to control me, to erase me from the twins' lives, and now he's doing the same thing to you. I don't believe you, Claire whispered. I have proof. Vanessa sent her a file, police reports, hospital records, witness statements. Everything pointed to Isabel being the driver. But there was more. A recording. Vanessa and Jonathan arguing in a hospital hallway 3 days after the crash. His voice, you'll say you were driving, you'll take the blame, or I'll make sure you never see my children again. Her voice broken, Jonathan, please. This is your fault. You let her get behind that wheel. You owe her this. Claire felt sick. Why didn't you fight him? I tried, but every lawyer I contacted said going up against Jonathan Harrington was career suicide. He has connections everywhere, money, influence. He buried the truth so deep, no one would believe me. Why are you telling me this now? Because you're the first nanny who lasted more than 6 months, the first person the twins actually loved, and I saw how he destroyed that, just like he destroys everything that threatens his control. Claire hung up and stared at her phone for an hour. Everything she thought she knew was unraveling. If Jonathan lied about Vanessa, what else had he lied about? She went to see a lawyer friend from college. This is bad, the lawyer said, reviewing the documents. If this is true, Jonathan Harrington manipulated a police investigation, coerced his sister into a false confession. That's obstruction of justice. But would anyone believe her over him? She hesitated, not without more evidence. What kind of evidence? Something that proves his pattern of control, witnesses, documentation, something that shows this isn't an isolated incident. Claire started digging. She contacted the previous nannies through the agency. 6 of them responded. All told the same story. Jonathan was charming at first, generous, kind. But the moment they showed any independence, took the twins somewhere without asking, made a decision he didn't approve of, questioned his rules, he turned ice cold. One nanny had taken the twins to a children's museum Jonathan hadn't pre-approved. Fired. Another had let Mia choose her own outfit for school. Fired. Another had given Noah a cookie before dinner. Fired. He doesn't want nannies, one woman told Claire. He wants robots. Armed with this information, Claire went back to her lawyer friend. This is a pattern, she said slowly. This could work. But what do we do with it? She looked at Claire seriously. You could go to the press, expose him, but that would hurt the twins, or you could go to him directly, show him you have evidence, give him a chance to make this right before it becomes public. Claire stood outside the Tribeca building for 20 minutes before she gathered the courage to go in. The butler recognized her, looked shocked. Miss Bennett, I don't think. Tell Mr. Harrington I have information about his wife's death. He'll want to hear it. Jonathan met her in his office. The same room where he'd fired her. You have 5 minutes, he said coldly. Claire placed the folder on his desk. I know the truth about the accident, about Vanessa, about how you've been controlling everyone around you because you can't control your own grief." His face went pale. "Get out. I also have statements from 6 former nannies, all with the same story. You're not protecting your children, Jonathan. You're suffocating them, and anyone who tries to love them. You don't know anything. I know you blamed your sister for something that wasn't her fault because it was easier than admitting your wife made a terrible mistake. I know you've spent 2 years punishing Vanessa to avoid facing the truth. And I know you fired me because I reminded you that you can't control everything." He sank into his chair. For a long moment, he said nothing. "Then she was drinking because of me." Claire's breath caught. "We'd fought that night about having another child. She wanted more freedom. I wanted control. She left angry. She went to Vanessa's party. She drank. She drove." His voice broke. "And I couldn't live with the fact that my need to control everything is what killed her." Tears streamed down his face. "So I blamed Vanessa, because if it was her fault, it couldn't be mine." Claire sat down across from him. "Your children deserve better than this." "I know. They deserve to know their aunt." "I know. And they deserve to know why I really left." He looked up at her, eyes red. "I don't know how to fix this." "You start by telling the truth." 3 months later, Claire sat in the Harrington living room. Vanessa was there. The twins were curled up beside her, showing her their latest drawings. Jonathan sat across from Claire, watching his family slowly heal. "Thank you," he said quietly. Claire had returned as the twins' nanny under new conditions: autonomy, respect, and honesty. Jonathan had publicly corrected the record about the accident, cleared Vanessa's name, started therapy. It wasn't perfect, healing never is. But it was real. "Claire," Mia climbed into her lap, "are you going to stay forever?" She looked at Jonathan. He nodded. "Yeah, sweetheart, I'm staying." "Thank you for staying with us until the end." This story reminds us that sometimes the people we trust most are carrying secrets too painful to speak, and that real love means breaking through the walls we build to protect ourselves. If this story moved you, we'd be honored if you'd subscribe to Nanny Grace Stories. We share these truths because they matter, because your stories matter, because sometimes the hardest betrayals lead to the most beautiful healings. Like this video if it touched your heart. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts. We read every single one. And remember, trust isn't given. It's earned, broken, and if we're lucky, rebuilt. Until the next story, take care of your heart.